Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the comic book industry facing a supposed supply chain issue. Now, there's a lot of discussion about whether or not DC Comics is actually having issues with its supply chain, but if you look at other industries, it seems like this is going around. Everybody's having problems.
Yes, this isn't necessarily untrue.
So we're going to talk about that. We actually were going to talk about yesterday in regards to tabletop gaming, but we didn't think there was enough information. So we had a bunch of people send us links today, say, hey, DC's having problems too. It's like, okay, clearly this is affecting everything. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 232,000 subs. Might be 233 now. I think we're at 233.
Yay! Even bigger yay.
Bigger yay. What are you going to do when we get to like 500,000?
I'm going to pee.
Not on stream. You're not allowed to do that.
I'm going to stream on stream.
Stream on stream. All right. No, she's not. She's not.
I'm not.
Anyway, let's talk about this. DC Comics delaying a bunch of books, claiming supply chain issues. There's been some speculation that maybe this is just DC trying to save some money or whatever, but I'm just gonna play devil's advocate here. It could be.
But there could be a lot of truth to it too.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you've been paying attention, Walmart, Target, they're having problems with this. These are the docks at the port. Yeah, they're having problems getting merchandise. We had a video before talking about the upcoming
holiday season
toy shortage.
Yeah, so if you're going to get toys, I would recommend getting them sooner rather than later.
Yep.
For Christmas or whatever, because there's a possibility they're going to have a limited supply.
Yeah, and we've got some Bubbly Steve plushies coming, and the reason we did them so far in advance, we started the campaign like in July, was because we were told by the party developing that Steve plushie that it could be several months until they show up.
Because of this.
Because of this. So it is a thing. In fact, yesterday, there was an article out there on ICV2, and we'll talk about them. They've got the DC information up here too, but there is potentially an Extinction level event coming for tabletop gaming.
Yeah, okay. Better clarify who it's coming for, because I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
Again, this comes down to being able to get the stuff not just manufactured, because everybody's behind anyway, because the manufacturing was put on hold late last year because of the pandemic, but also getting the stuff shipped over here and getting it through the ports.
Well, I hope not, because there's a lot of gaming stores that could be impacted, including one we have, and I don't want anything bad to happen to them because they do a lot, for different like groups and stuff.
Yeah, actually, the one gaming store here locally, they opened right before the pandemic, and we had a conversation with them, and they said they survived because of online sales. But
you should go talk to them and ask them if they've heard anything about this.
It's like, hey guys, have you heard about the Extinction level event? And
they'll be like, what?
It's like, what? We survived COVID. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. So we'll get there, but first we're going to talk about DC. Well, actually, before we talk about DC, also happened with manga.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. We have tabletop, comics. I knew comics were, because besides having trouble getting stuff to printers that are backed up, getting it over here was a huge deal.
Yeah, and we're friends with some folks that work for various manga publishing companies, and they said, yeah, there's a massive shortage right now of available printers. And I know the comic book industry is running into that too. I know that I can't remember if it was Marvel or DC, but they had to switch printers during the pandemic because they couldn't get their usual printer to get the work done because everybody was laid off, sent home, whatever the deal was, and I think they had to switch to another printer just to get the books done that they got done. A lot of people having a lot of issues. So yeah, I do believe it's a thing, but here we go from ICV2. It said, citing unprecedented strain on the global supply chain, DC...
Which is probably true.
Probably true. Now, could some businesses take advantage of this situation like they did with the pandemic and be like, well, we can't spend the money to print the books now because there's no point. So we're just going to, hang tight for, a couple months until next quarter. I mean, until the supply chain issue
or they
itself.
suddenly jack up the prices on everything because supply and demand.
Well, prices are going up on a lot of things. And we'll talk about that in regards to tabletop. The problem is that most manufacturers, most publishers, ourselves included, our own books, we hard code the price right into the ISBN number, the barcode. So, if the retail price is, $49.95, but now it costs more, you still have to charge, you can't charge above the $49.95, MSRP, unless, you're dealing with a shop and they're reselling or whatever, back issues or something like that, they can mark it up. But yeah, I mean, people might be taking a hit because it's going to cost more with all this stuff going on. So, unprecedented strain. DC announced delays on dozens of titles and allocations on most of its Batman Day books in a message to retailers this week. Up to this point, we've been able to keep delays and shortages to a minimum, but with recent notifications about COVID-related port closures, international and domestic freight delays, again, we can vouch this is real. This is a real thing. Workforce shortages.
Also, that's everywhere. They can't find people to work.
Yeah, I think that was part of the problem we had with our second batch of graphic novels was shortage.
And then we hit yearbook time too. But I know that places around here, restaurants are closing certain days of the week because they can't find enough employees.
Yep.
And it's across the board.
Severely allocated paper supply.
Well, we heard that before too.
Yes. We're unable to continue to manage this situation without disruption.
I mean, I understand DC does some crappy things, but I really think that they're probably telling the truth in this one.
Yeah, because it's not just them. If it was just DC, I'd be like, oh, sure, Jan, Yeah. But the fact that it's also tabletop gaming, it's also manga.
Which we've been telling you guys about this stuff. So, yeah. I believe that this probably is true.
I mean, it might be a good excuse for them to save money this quarter, but
I think it's true.
Yeah, no, I believe that. Because why would, here's the thing. You're going to go back to, especially now with the Warner Discovery merger, and they're going to have to prove to their superiors that they're worth keeping around. They're not going to be like, yeah, we're just not going to put comics out for a couple months.
Right. I mean, they could use that and be like, oh, look, it's a shortage.
Wasn't our fault.
So they could get, skirt past that for right now. But I don't think they are, because too many other industries are impacted. We're hearing this across the board, the paper supply. We've heard that, months ago before this. So it honestly makes sense.
35 titles were delayed, with DC warning of further shifts in the future, as ICV2 has previously reported. The underlying causes of delay are unlikely to be eliminated this year.
Probably not.
Probably not. Again, we're talking up to Christmas, at least. We're going to have delays. DC said it expected the situation to persist for several more months. DC will also allocate all Batman Day titles, except for incentive covers, the company told retailers, again citing supply chain issues. You can see it is a shit ton of comics. I mean, this is like, what is this, like half their line?
No, someone else is going to argue, well, the other places aren't delaying theirs. And that, that is a valid point as well. I mean, it could be that this is, somehow the delays are tied into the sale. You can cover your ass if you can't. Oh, I can't sell comics if we don't have any. But I think there's probably more truth to it than there isn't.
Well, it's a damn good thing that most comic shops now are relying more on back issue sales than they are new comic sales, isn't it? It's a damn good thing that some of those Batman creators jumped ship to Substack.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I mean, why can't they just put them digitally?
Well, they are. Apparently they are. They're doing them, I believe.
They do it the same date they're releasing it, or are they releasing them digitally earlier?
Currently appears DC has decided to... they're delaying it. Never mind.
Okay, so that to me says that it's probably true.
Yeah.
Because if they were just going to go ahead and put it on digital right now and try to cash in on that without the print, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's probably, but that, since they're delaying it to the print editions and they're going to lose money that way, I mean, it just seems to me that maybe this is true and they're just trying to make it fair to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, this happened. I know there was a lot of outrage, when Diamond, went down. They curled up in the fetal position under the desk. I know there was a lot of outrage about, the publishers still releasing comics digitally because they were like, well, this is going to cut into brick and mortar sales. So they're probably looking at that like, yeah, we're not going to go there again. But then the flip side is, if everything's getting pushed back, are they still producing material on schedule, or are they like, well, this month's comics are now November's comics, so we're just going to shift the due dates for all these other comics, and basically creators are going to get shorted because they're not going to be putting as much new material out.
Right. But hey, on the flip side, they have no excuse for if their books suck. If they had more time to work on them.
That's true. You have more time to work on books.
You have no excuse if you're turning in shit work. Just,
Now, not related to DC, but speaking of shit work, New Warriors still hasn't materialized as far as I can tell. I don't think that Marvel ever released it, and that was a pandemic era book. I went to Amazon, and they have the listing up for the graphic novel, but you can't buy it. I'm assuming it just never came out.
Oh, I didn't pay attention.
I went to Comixology. I couldn't find it there. I don't think it ever
I
came out.
laughed at the BS and walked away.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting. It's going to be another blow against, I think, new comics, the direct market, and not at a good time either when DC especially has been losing so many people to places like Substack and crowdfunding. But anyway, we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.